Good evening, everyone. I'm Akhil, and I'm delighted to welcome all of you to this faculty development program on artificial intelligence and machine learning, proudly organized by Nextera Unitech. Over the coming days, we will dive into powerful concepts and techniques that are shaping the future of education and technology. Let's embark on this exciting learning journey together. So, as part of D1, we are going to learn the concepts of Python. So, today we'll be understanding what exactly is Python, and post understanding what is Python, we'll understand the concepts like history of Python, then features of Python, why Python is widely used in the market. Okay, so because of all these features, today Python is standing in number one position, right? And coming to the core concepts, the fundamental topics like variables, data types, operators, and followed by conditional statements, loops, and loop control statements, and finally functions. So all these topics we are going to learn as part of today's session. I hope the agenda is clear. So let us get started. Right. So if I go back, let us exactly understand what has happened earlier in 19th century. When we talk about history of Python, okay, so the creator, the father of Python is Guido van Rossum. Python was officially released in the year 1991 in the month February. And have you ever think why the name was given as a snake name for a programming language? The reason behind that is it is because of a circus name. There is a circus called Monty Python's Flying Circus, and this particular circus is very famous in the olden days. Even our Guido van Rossum, our father of Python, thought in a similar manner, and he named his programming language name as Python. So that is the reason behind the name Python. And this is the official site of Python. I'll walk you through official site of the Python as well in a couple of minutes. Then, talking about the features, what exactly are the special qualities, the characteristics, or the capabilities of Python, which is making Python to stand on top one? Because of these features, in the market, Python is standing in position one. And what are they? Python is very simple, isn't it? Yes. Python is very simple, and even why it is simple? Because of syntaxes. And it also have very rich modules, set of APIs. User-friendly syntaxes is making Python very simple. Not only to read, to understand, or even to come up with the script. Python is very simple. And Python is a platform independent language. Whatever might be the OS, operating system, we can execute the Python scripts. Right? It is not like the other programming languages. If you take other programming languages like C or C++, okay, there are platform dependent languages. Right? But Python is a platform independent language. So whatever it might be the operating system, yes, we can execute the script. The source code can be executed as is. Then Python is also a dynamically typed language. What is this dynamically typed language? In general, programming languages are of two types, guys. One is static typed and the other one is dynamic typed. Dynamic typed is nothing but the end user, the programmer need not come up with the data type. The type need not be defined explicitly for the data that we are going to store, or the data that we are going to work on need not to be defined. But for the static type programming languages like C, we have to define the data type. And Python is an interpreted language. Interpreted, yes. What exactly interpreted? Any idea? Interpreted is nothing but the source code gets executed line by line. Even in the backend, what exactly happens is the .py, whatever the source code, the script that we write in the .py file gets converted to .pyc by the compiler. What is this .pyc? It is nothing but the byte codes. The source code gets converted to the byte code, and this byte code will be converted to zeros and ones. At the end, each and every program language, the script that we come up with should be converted to machine understandable language. So what is the language that machine understands is zeros and ones. So this is what happens in the backend. But how? Each and every line by line, the execution happens. So Python is an interpreted language, and Python is a high level language. Humans can understand this high level language, and because of strong features, it is also robust. It is free of cost. Anyone can use it without paying a single rupee. We can easily download and use Python, and it is also open source. And the other features that Python has are it is extensible, embedded. So extensible and embedded are nothing but where we can use Python code in other languages code. Right? And it also supports both functional and object-oriented programming. So both functional and object-oriented programming is supported by Python. And there are a lot of third-party APIs. There are n number of APIs, modules, libraries. Okay. So because of these libraries, we have Python, standing in position 1. Whatever might be the application, yes, nowadays everyone is using Python. So friends, if you are not aware of Python concepts, yes, be part of this program. You will be clear on the basics of Python. You learn what exactly are the core concepts, because Python is very simple. You need not struggle. If you are familiar with other programming languages apart from Python, this particular program is going to clear your core concepts of Python. Right? So these are the features of Python. Because of these features, everyone, for each and every application in the real world, everyone started using Python, guys. Right. So history and features, yes, we are done. Let us talk about the fundamental topics. The basic part is literals. What exactly is this literals is? The values or the data that we give as input are called as literals. And in general, we have 4 types of literals. They are integer, float, string, and bool literals. But in order to store these literals, we should have some objects. Yes, obviously. We should have some objects to store, integer literal or float literal or string literal. So in this way, if I go, I need some objects to store my data. I need some objects to store my inputs, the values. And these objects are nothing but variables, identifiers, and variables. So what are these variables and literal variables and identifiers? Let us understand the concept of variables and identifiers. So one more thing, as part of this program, we are just covering the theoretical part, we also ensure the hands-on gets covered. Okay, for each and every topic that we are discussing here, we are also going to cover the hands-on part, right? Yes. Let us understand what are variables identifiers. So in order to store the literals in the main memory, we need some names, right? These names help us to identify the values that need to be stored, and they are called as identifiers. The names are called as identifiers. But the values for these names might be changing. Yes. So that is why, identifiers are called as variables. I hope it is clear. What is a variable? Variable is nothing but it's an identifier. It is an identifier whose value keep changing during the execution of program. So when I keep writing my program line by line, are you sure that the value of your variable keep constant? No, we can't, right? So because of this, what happens is, an variable is an identifier. It is a name given to, in which we are going to store the value, a literal. But the value can be changed. The values can be changed. That is why, it is an identifier. Let me give some examples. But before giving some examples, we have some basic rules. Yes, we understood what are variables and identifiers. But how to define a variable in Python? There are some ground rules, guys. What are these ground rules? The ground rule says a variable is a combination of alphabets, either lower or uppercase, digits, followed by underscore symbol. So it can be a combination of alphabets or digits or only special symbol, that is underscore. So that means apart from these, I cannot use any other thing? No. So a variable can either start with alphabet or underscore. So you can start a variable with alphabet, or you can start a variable with underscore. But can I start a variable with a digit? No. Within the variable name, special symbols are not accepted, not allowed, except underscore. So apart from underscore, anything else are not accepted. If I try to use any other special character, it does not accept. And variables in Python are case sensitive, guys. Python itself is case sensitive, and we should be very clear on the case. Excuse me. And we also have keywords. These keywords cannot be used as variable names. Keywords cannot be used as variable names. Why? Because these keywords are nothing but reserved words in Python. They are reserved words and they do have a specific meaning. Okay, so because of this specific meaning, we cannot use keywords as variables. Okay, so I'll tell you what are the list of keywords that we have and why we are not supposed to use variables. We'll understand. Keywords we'll understand. All the variable names are recommended to take as user-friendly names. So upon whatever you're storing, okay, it's better to define a name which is user-friendly. That is generally accepted, guys. Okay, so keeping all these rules in mind, let us focus on a few examples, right? Yes. So I'm going to use an IDE called Spider. Okay, there is an IDE called Spider, and I always suggest Spider for beginners. If you are a beginner, if you are not aware of the concepts of Python, if you just started learning Python, my suggestion would be download Spider. Download Spider. It's better if you download Anaconda Navigator, because Anaconda Navigator will give you a list of IDEs. But if you don't have good amount of space, or if you're not comfortable in downloading Anaconda Navigator, at least go with Spider. My suggestion will be Spider, guys. The reason why am I insisting you to work on Spider initially is this is the one of the best IDE for beginners. The best IDE. Here, whatever you see here is called, this is called scripting pane. Here we write the script. The source code, we'll keep it here. And next to the source code, you'll have panes. Help pane, variable explorer pane, then debugger pane, plots pane, files pane, so on. We'll understand each and every pane slowly, steadily, we'll understand. Help pane for documentation, for going through each and every function documentation, you can use help pane. Variable explorer pane for going through the variables, whatever the variables that we get, that we used as part of our source code, you can get the information of your variables here. Then plots pane, where you will have the information of your plots, the visualizations, and files will be for the local files. And finally console. So this is the place where we get output, guys. Here we'll get output once after executing the code from here. Under the scripting pane, if I execute the lines, I'll get the output in the console pane. Right. Then coming to the icons to the top left corner. So I'll tell you 5 important icons. The first one is for opening a new script .py file. And remember the format. The extension for Python files will be .py. .py, which means Python. Okay. The second one is to open any .py file from the local machine. You can go and use the second icon. Third one is for saving the script. Fourth one is for saving all the files. And this icon is for executing a single line or a selection of lines, a group of lines. Okay, just remember these icons for time being. As we move on, you'll understand the rest of the icons as well. So I hope it is clear. Now, let me start with the examples of variables identifiers. So we have discussed all the ground rules. Yes, let me define a variable. What am I doing? In line number 17, I'm trying to store value 1. I'm going to store value 1 in A. What is A? A becomes my variable. What is 1? 1 is my value. So that means 1 is literal and I'm going to store 1 in A. So is that simple? Like how we used to do it in maths. If you go back to schooling days, we used to write A is equals to 1, B is equals to 2, so on, for doing the calculations and all. Yes, in the same way, I'm going to store 1 inside A. Inside A. So let me execute, guys. So which icon I have to use? This one. For executing, you are supposed to use this icon. Just click on the line, select that line. If possible, if you're going to execute only a single line, just place your cursor on that line and go and click on this icon. Immediately, it gets executed in the console. And you see here, what is the name of the variable? It is A. What is the value that we have stored? 1. I'll talk about these two as well. Okay, it is talking about, type is talking about the value that we have stored in A belongs to which type. I can clearly understand it is an integer, right? So the type says int. And size is actually representing the number of values that you are storing in the variable, in the object. How many? It is 1. So I hope it is clear, guys. If you understand one variable, obviously you can do the same for rest of the variables. Clear? So I am able to store 1 in A. I'm done. So can you tell me, will line number 19 execute or not? And guys, I want everyone to respond in the chat so that we'll have a kind of interactive session. Right? So will line number 19 execute or not? Yes, it will. Why? I'm just following the ground rules. My variable has only alphabets. I did not use any other special character. Right? So this is not against the ground rule. So it is accepted. What does that mean? That means 10 is going to store in variable ABC. 10 gets stored in ABC. So the moment I click on the execution button, you should also focus simultaneously on the variable explorer. Right? Yes. Then, what about line number 21, guys? Line number 21. 12 ABC is equals to 10. Will it execute or not? No, it will not. Why? Why it will not execute? The reason behind it is a variable should always start with either underscore or alphabet. But is my variable starting with alphabet or underscore? No, I'm starting it with a digit. It is not accepted. It is against the ground rule. So that is why you see a cross mark. It says that, it is invalid. But let me try. Let me try. Yes. It does not execute. What happened? It says there is a syntax error. We got an error with respect to the syntax. The reason is, I hope it is clear. We are starting our variable with a digit, which is not accepted. But what if I go with the variable A123 is equals to 34? Will this be accepted? If I try to store 34 in A123, is that accepted? Yes. I'm not against the ground rule. So this has to execute. A123 is the name of the variable. The type is int. Int is because of the value that is getting stored, guys. So 34 we are storing in A123 and the size of A123 is 1 because I'm just storing only one value. Clear? Right. 25. Is that accepted? Yes. Because starting variable with underscore ABC is equals to 34. So accepted. It will execute. But why it is not showing me here is I just changed my preferences, guys. So let me give me a minute. I'll change it. Yes, you see here underscore ABC is equals to 34. Did it get stored? Yes. But I just changed my settings because I don't want to confuse you initially. So that is the reason, I just changed some of the settings. Anyways, let me go back. Total space salary is equals to 2.3. Is this accepted or not? This is not accepted. Why? I have space. I have space. So when I try to execute this, I'll get an error. The reason is we cannot use any special character apart from underscore. But what did we try to use here? Space, which is not accepted. Right. 29. Yes or no? Line number 29. No. Why? The reason is we are using dollar symbol, which is not accepted. 31. Yes. I'm just obeying all the ground rules. So obviously this will execute. 33. Obviously, because all of them are alphabets. So it will execute. 35. Hold on. 33 is already age, right? And even in 35 also we are trying to use the same variable. No, 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 my friends. This age is different. This age is different. How come? Go back. What did we discuss here? Python is case sensitive. So that means the age which is in lower characters and the age which is in upper characters both forms two different variables. They are not same in Python. So if you observe properly here, age in lower characters stores 100 and age in upper character stores 89. Both are not same. Clear? Then what about this one? Again, this is also a different variable. Age in proper case. This is called proper case. Okay. Only the first character will be in upper case and followed by the rest of the characters in lower case. This is what we generally use, right? Proper case. So this is again a new variable. Next to it, we have if. If should be accepted in general, right? Because if contains only characters, alphabets. But if I execute line number 39, I'll get an error. Do you know why? Do you know why will I get an error for line number 39? Because I'm obeying all the rules, right? I did not use any special character. I did not start my variable with any number, digit, right? But still, why am I getting error? The reason behind it is if is a keyword, guys. If is a keyword. So, because if being a keyword, keywords are reserved words in Python and we cannot use keywords as variables. In the same way, while is a keyword. While is a keyword. So while being a keyword, when you try to use as a variable, it will throw an error. Okay, then what if I keep if 123 as my variable name? Is that accepted? Yes, it is accepted. The reason behind it is only if is a keyword. If 123 is not a keyword, right? Then in the same way, underscore y. Can I use it? Yes. Yes, I can use it because while is a keyword, underscore while is not a keyword. But how should I know whether it's a keyword or not? There is a module called keyword. There is a module called keyword in Python. And if you are interested in getting the info, in getting the list of keywords, you are supposed to import a module called keyword. Then there is a attribute from keyword, module keyword. It is KW list, keyword list. Just print it. You'll get all the list of keywords. So these are the list of keywords that we have in Python. Okay. And these keywords cannot be used as variable names. They cannot be used as variable names. Okay. So as we move on, you'll understand, guys. Slowly, steadily, we'll understand each and every topic. So one more question that I'll raise here itself. False is a keyword? Yes. False is a keyword. But false only in proper case is keyword. What if I keep false in uppercase? This is not a keyword. I can use it as a variable name. This is not a keyword. Only this is a keyword, which is in proper case. In the same way, true in proper case is a keyword. But true, this one is not a keyword. I can use it as my variable name. Hope it is making sense. If you are clear on the examples, let us move to the next topic. It is data types. Very important topic as part of Python. In order to understand any topic under Python, you should be clear on data types. What are these data types? Data types are nothing but they allow us to store the values. They allocate sufficient amount of memory space. Okay, depending on the type of data that we are trying to store, these data types, they help us to allocate sufficient amount of memory. And in Python, there are in total 14 data types. Oh my God. Isn't it? Yes, there are 14. And these 14 data types are classified in 6 types, 6 categories. What are they? Fundamental, sequence, list, set, dict, and NoneType. I repeat, fundamental, sequence, list, set, dict, and NoneType. Under these categories, we have the data types. Under fundamental category data types, we have int, float, bool, complex. Under sequence category data types, we have str, bytes, byte array, range. Under list category data types, we have list, tuple. Under set category data types, we have set and frozen set. Under dict, we have only a single data type, it is called dict. And in the same way, under none type category data types, we have only a single data type, it is none. So we'll be understanding each and every data type by taking examples. Okay, so your focus should be mainly on the concept of data types. Time again we use it. Very important topic in Python. So let me start with fundamental category data types. What exactly is this fundamental category data types? Is the purpose of fundamental category data types is to store single value. Okay, so whenever I want to store a single value, one value, I have to go and use fundamental category data types. What are the different fundamental category data types that we have? Int, float, bool, complex. If I want to store integer data, integer values, I'll use int. If I want to store any decimal values, I'll use float. If I want to store true false values, I'll use bool. Or if I want to store complex numbers, I'll use complex. Simple, guys. Fundamental category data types, the purpose is to store single value. How many types we have? 4 types. What are they? Int, float, bool, complex. What is the purpose of int? To store integer values. What is the purpose of float? To store decimal values. If I have decimal values like 10.99 or 100.3. So all these are nothing but decimal values, right? Floating numbers. So in order to store floating numbers, we use float. If I want to store true false values, I can use bool. If I want to store complex values, go back to our school days. We have learned complex numbers. A plus bj, A minus bj, right? So in order to store complex numbers, we use complex data type, right? So this is the purpose of fundamental category data types. I'll take a few examples and let us start understanding one by one. So the first one is int. It is not integer, it is int. When you are using the data type, it is strictly, you should say it as int. What is the purpose of int? To store integer data. So what am I doing here? I am trying to store 19. Is 19 an integer? Yes. 19 is an integer and I'm going to store 19 in A. Is that accepted, guys? Will it execute? Yes, it will execute. So I'll store 19 in A. You see here, the value 19 is getting stored in A. Then we have a function called print. We have a function called print. What does print do is, it prints the output to the console. It prints the output to the console. So what I'm going to print? Print of A. What do we have in A? 19. So 19 gets printed to the console. 19 gets printed to the console. But before that, you see here, which data type did it assign? Int. Why? Because 19 is an integer, so the data type will be int. Int type will be used to store the value 19. Okay, assume that you are not using spider, because apart from spider, if you take any other IDEs, okay, like Jupyter Collab, Jupyter Notebook, Google Colab, or Visual Studio, or PyCharm. Okay, if you take any other IDEs, you cannot get the information of the types in this way. The variable explorer is not present. So there I can get the information of the type of the variable of the object using type function. Using type function. Type function will return me the data type for that specific object. So type of A will return me what? Int. Type of A will return me int. In the same way, let me store any decimal values, floating values, 34.99. Will line number 73 execute? Come on guys, will it execute or not? Yes. Because I'm not violating any of the ground rules, so it has to execute. 34.99 is getting stored in A. Then, what am I doing? Instead of keeping it in two lines, I just came with a single line. So it prints A. Initially, it is going to print the value that is present in A. Then next to it, it is also going to print type of A. So that means we will get the value that is stored in A along with type of A. What will be the output? 34.99 and float. See. Next to it, will this execute? Yes, obviously. So what will be the data type for A? Again, it will be a float. Again, it will be a float. So print of A comma type of A will return me the value for A and the type of A will be float. Then bool. So I'm going to store true and false values. If you observe properly, see guys, again, true only if it is in proper case, it is identified as true. False only if it is in proper case, it is identified, it is recognized as false. If you are changing the case, Python being case sensitive, it is not recognized as true or false. Okay, so keep it in mind. You are supposed to use true and false only in proper cases. So I'm going to store true inside A. So let me execute this. Done. If you see here, what is the type? Bool. The purpose of bool is to store true false values. Then internally true is recognized as 1. Internally true is recognized as 1. Then what I'm going to do next to it? I'm going to print A, which is nothing but print the value that is present inside A and type of A. So obviously the output will be true bool. Then next to it, what we are doing? We are storing false. So again, the type will be bool. Internally, false is recognized as 0. False is recognized as 0. Okay. Now, I am going to print B along with its type. So obviously the output will be false and bool. So when I'm executing, do focus on the console as well. Just keep your eye on a console, the output. Next to it, what we are doing, guys? A plus B. What do we have in A? True. B, false. So what is the output of true plus false? How can I add true and false? That is what I have told you, right? Internally, true is recognized as 1. False will be recognized as 0. So 1 plus 0 will be 1. You see here? Clear? Yes. Next to it, we have complex. So, in general, the format for storing complex numbers is a plus bj or a minus bj, where a will be the real part and b will be the imaginary part. So, we have used a plus bi, a minus bi, right? In the same way here, we use j. Instead of I, we use j. So what am I doing, guys? I am storing 2 plus 3j, the complex number 2 plus 3j. And where am I storing it? In A. Inside A. So you see here, A stores a complex value and the type is complex. Complex type will be used to store a complex number. So when I say print of A type of A, it will return 2 plus 3j complex. Next to it, 2.3 plus 4.6j. Is this a complex number? Yes. Wherever you see the format a plus bj or a minus bj, it is a complex number. So even this is a complex number and we are trying to print it along with its type. Apart from it, we are also trying to get real part and imaginary part from the complex number. Is it possible? Yes. There are attributes like real and imag. Okay. B stores complex number. Yes. So B dot real will return us the real part of the complex number. What it is? 2.3. In the same way, B dot imag will return the imaginary part 4.6. I hope it is making sense. Right? These are two attributes, real and imag, which help us to return real part and the imaginary part from the complex number. So I hope it is clear. Fundamental category data types, we are done with it. Now let us move to sequence category data types. The second category data types is sequence category. What is the purpose of sequence category data types? To store sequence of values. Okay, that's it. Yes. In order to store a sequence of values, if I want to store multiple values, there is a sequence of values. Go and use sequence category data types. What are they? str, bytes, byte array, range. So focus, these are important. str, bytes, byte array, range. Let me start with str data type. str data type. What is the purpose of str data type? Is for storing sequence of characters. Okay. So if I want to store sequence of characters, there I go and use str data type. And we know we have two types of string data, that is single line string and multi-line string. They are single line and multi-line. That means what is single line, multi-line? Single line is nothing but, keeping the entire sequence of characters within a single line which are enclosed in single quotes or double quotes. But multi-line is nothing but where we keep the entire string in multiple lines which are enclosed with triple single quotations or triple double quotations. So I'll keep it here. So these are the quotation marks that we use for single line string data, and followed by multi-line views as triple single or triple double. Clear? So the purpose is very simple. To store sequence of characters, we use str type, and there are two types of string data again: single line string data, multi-line string data. Single line string data is nothing but keeping the entire string data in a single line enclosed with single quotation marks or double quotation marks. But multi-line string data is nothing but keeping the entire string data in multiple lines. Okay, where they are enclosed in triple single quotations or triple double quotations. Let us take some examples for understanding. Let us take some examples. So what am I doing here? I am trying to store a sequence of characters. What it is? Python. I want to store Python in Python using Python. Is it possible? Yes. Which data type should be used? We know that str type help us to, store sequence of characters. Am I right? Yes. str type help us to store sequence of characters. Now, let me store Python in S. Let's see what happens. So, which type is being assigned? str. What is the size? It is not 1, it is 6. Why? In total, there are 6 characters. There are 6 characters. Python. Okay, there are 6 characters. Because of this, the size is 6. And when I say print of s comma type of s, it will print me Python and type will be str. But which quotations am I using, guys? You should also observe that. Double quotations. Can I also use single quotations? Yes. The next example, Abdul Kalam. Abdul Kalam. I'm going to store Abdul Kalam in single quotations. This is an example of single and string data. Will this get execute? Yes. What? Can you tell me the size of S? What will be the size of X? It will not be 10. It will be 11. Why? In Abdul you have 5 characters. In Kalam you have 5 characters. And space by default takes size 1. So in total 5 plus 1 plus 5 it is 11. Okay. Then print of S comma type of S will return me str. Nothing but Abdul Kalam and str. See. So these are the examples of single line string data. Let me go with multi-line string data. What is multi-line string data? Keeping the entire string data in multiple lines. See? But this string data will be enclosed in triple single or triple double quotations. You cannot use double quotations or single quotations to store multi-line string data. No. Okay, so let me execute this. Let me store the address in a variable addr1. Will that execute? Yes, it got executed, guys. See. So this is the address that I am trying to store. Executed. What is the size? 90. There are 90 characters, including the spaces, special symbols, so on. And if I say print of the address along with its type, it is going to return this type and the entire address. Okay, so these are the different examples for str type. So in simple, in order to store a sequence of characters, we use str type. Coming to str type, there is a concept called indexing. Not only on str type, from here onwards, we'll use the concept of indexing, guys. Okay, so let us understand what is indexing. Indexing is nothing but, the process of obtaining a single value or a character from the data. Okay, from the data, if I want to obtain only a single value, a single character, that process is called what? It is called indexing. And what is the syntax for indexing? It is simple. Object followed by square braces inside which we pass the index number. Oh, and in Python, by default, indexing starts from 0. This is in left to right direction. If you go in the reverse direction, right to left, the indexing starts from -1. Very important, guys. Very important. In Python, the index starts from 0 from left to right, and the index will start from minus from in reverse direction, that is right to left. Okay, so index can be both. It can be positive and it can be negative. When it is positive, from left to right. When it is negative, when we traverse along right to left. So here we have a few examples for indexing topic. Let us understand. What am I doing? I am storing Python in an object S, in a variable S. So let me keep it here. Python done. Done. What is this one? What do we have in the next lines? These are the examples for indexing. How do you decide whether it is an example of indexing or not? Just map with the syntax. The object followed by square braces. Within the square brace, you'll have index number. Okay, better let me write the index numbers. First of all, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If I go in the reverse direction, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. Now tell me what value I'm accessing. I'm trying to access in line number 135 S of index 3, which means H. So H will be given as output for line number 135. H will be given as output for line number 135. Can you tell me the output for line number 136, guys? S of -2. Excuse me. S of -2 will return what? Yes, S of -2 will return O. S of minus 4 will return T, and S of 2 will return T again. So that means I can access T using two different numbers. I hope you are getting the point. So that is the concept of indexing, right? So let me execute one by one. I'm storing Python, done. Then accessing index value 3, it is H. Accessing index value minus 2, it is O. Accessing index value minus 4, it is T. And accessing index value 2, it is also T. Right? So it's very simple. No, concepts, core concepts are very simple if you practice on daily basis. There is one more topic called slicing. There is one more topic called slicing. Indexing is clear, right? Let us understand what is slicing. Slicing is nothing but obtaining a range of characters. Okay, indexing means obtaining single character. Slicing means obtaining a group of characters or obtaining a range of characters is called slicing. Again, the same concept, but slicing has different syntaxes. Let us understand all the syntaxes one by one. I'll keep the word Python here as we are trying to store Python. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, and minus 6. So let us understand the first syntax of slicing. Again, we use the slicing in the same manner, but in which we'll have three values. Right? See, I'm storing Python in S. Yes. So S of 1 colon 4 represents 1 represents the start value, the begin value, and 4 represents the end value. Okay, so 1 represents start and 4 represents stop. Okay, so this is your start and this is our end, nothing but stop. So where it is going to start? It will start at index position 1. So that means Y next to it, what we'll have? By default increment will be 1. Okay, so we'll get T next to it, and next to T we'll also get H. We'll also get H, but we'll not get index position value 4, that is O. O will not be written. The reason behind it is it stops at n minus 1 value itself. So the output for line number 145 will be YTH. No, O will not be written. This is again a point to be noted. It stops at n minus 1 value. So let me execute so that you'll understand it well. Okay. You see here in the console, YTH. It will not be YTHO. Got it? Now, can you tell me the output for line number 146? 2 colon 5. So that means it starts with 2, which is nothing but T, then 3, which is H, then 4, which is O. Will it also return N? No. No. So the output will be THO. The output will be THO. This is one type of syntax where we provide start value and stop value, end value. But in the next syntax, you'll find only the start value. There will not be any end value. You see here, 3 colon. Do you observe any end value? No. By default, end will be till the last. Till the last. But where I am supposed to start? at index position 3. What is it? H. So what will be the output for line number 147? Keep your responses in the chat, guys. HON. Good. Keep going. In the same way, can you tell me the output for line number 148? 148. The entire Python. Entire Python. The reason being we are starting at index 0. The entire Python will be written as output. Good. Then the next syntax comes into the picture. Here, we'll not specify the start value, but we specify the stop value. The end value will be specified, but the start value will not be specified. So by default, the start will be from the start, from the 0. So what will be the output for line number 149? It will start with P, then next one, the character will be Y, the next character will be T. Will I also get H? No. We know that by default it stops at n-1 character. It will be PYT only. Good. Keep going, keep going. Output for line number 150. Output for line number 150. Colon -4. Can I have index value as negative? Yes. That means in the reverse direction. If you go see here. But did I pass any start value? No. That means by default it starts from position 0. That is the starting position. So it returns P, then it returns Y. Will it return H T? No. Because the stop value itself is -4. So the output will be PY. The output will be PY. Good going. So this is the third syntax that we have understood so far. And the fourth syntax is will not pass any value. Will not pass start value, will not pass stop value. That means to return the entire sequence of characters as is. The entire object will be returned as is. See. I hope you are getting the point. I did not specify start, I did not specify stop. So when you don't specify both, by default it starts from the starting and it will go till the end. Good. Now, the last syntax for slicing is we provide 3 values. What are they? We know that 2 values are start, colon, stop. What is the third one? The third one represents step, stride. The third one represents step. So this third value, step, indicates the equal intervals. The amount of increment should be given to the start value. Excuse me. So if you see here, I am going to start at index position T, 2, which is T. So how much I should increment? I should increment 2. So 2 plus 2 will be 4. So next to T, I'll get O. But did I reach the maximum? Yes, n-1. The stop value, 5 minus 1 will be 4. So I have reached the maximum. So the output of line number 152 should be TO. Good. Good. Then, in the same way, 153, guys. Give a try for 153. It will be starting by default. You are going to start with P. 0 plus 3 will be 3. What is the value that we have at index position 3? It is H. 3 plus 3, it is out of index. So the output will be PH. Good going. So let me execute both. For this, it should be TO, and for line number 153 it should be PH. Good. I hope we are clear on the concepts of indexing and slicing. Now, let me go to the next data type. It is bytes. It is bytes. What is the purpose of bytes? Bytes helps us to store sequence of positive integers. It helps us to store sequence of positive integers which are nothing but in the range of 0, 256 means 0 to 255. So between this range of integers, I can store a sequence of numbers using bytes data type. Okay, and if you want to convert to bytes data type, we use bytes function. We use bytes function. On the object of bytes, we can perform indexing and slicing. Like how we are able to do indexing and slicing on str type, str data. In the same way on bytes data also we can perform indexing and slicing. But bytes type is immutable. Bytes objects are immutable. Okay, so once if it is created, we cannot change it. We cannot edit it. This is very important, guys. Okay, because it does not support item assignment. When you try to assign the values, the items, it does not support. So that is why bytes is an immutable data type. And it obviously help us to have both unique and duplicate values. You can also have duplicate values within the bytes object. Okay, so let us focus on a few examples. What am I doing? This is not bytes, guys. This is called list. Okay, the elements or the values enclosed in square braces is called a list. What is a list? We'll understand. Okay, so this is a list object. You see, I have the integer values. All of them are integers. Okay, and what I'm doing? I'm printing the object along with its type. You'll get the type as a list. Even here you'll have the object as list, the type as list. The size will be 5. What is the size? It is 5. Why it is 5? 5 numbers, 5 integers. You can also open it. The advantage of using spider, see, it allows us to go to the depth. Okay, so these are the list of elements, list of integers I have in the list object. Okay, and all of them are int values, int data. Now, what am I doing? I am converting this list into bytes object. List object is getting converted to bytes object. How? I'm using bytes function, guys. I'll use bytes function to which I'll pass list as an input so that it returns me a bytes object, and this bytes object gets stored in variable B. B is a bytes object, but can you see the values inside it? Not exactly, right? Yes. But I'll try to print it. Let me print them. If you try to print it, you'll get the output in an encrypted format. We cannot have the output. Even though if you try to print them, you'll not able to see the results. But how can I access the values inside the bytes object is using loops system. Especially for loops. We use for loops to have a look, or in order to access the values inside the bytes object, we use for loops. Okay, so I'm going to use for loop. Okay, the for loop syntax is for variable in iterable object. We'll discuss for loops also, we'll discuss, but after some time. Then we have to keep the lines of code. So what we are doing is we are going to take each and every value from B. What is B? B is a bytes object. So from B, val takes each and every number and it is going to print. Okay. So let me execute. Together you have to execute, guys. So this will return me all the numbers present in the bytes object B. So what is the purpose of bytes? To store sequence of positive numbers from 0 to 255. Are they between 0 to 255? Yes. Indexing allowed? Yes. Indexing is allowed. What is B of 0? B of 0 is 10. B of minus 1, 255. B of 2 colon 5. Guys, this is indexing concept. This is slicing concept. I hope it is clear. B of 2 colon 5 will return. What is it? Element that we have at 2. 45. Then at index 3, 56. At index 4, 255. So the output should be 45, 56 and 255. But did it return as the output? No. Again, if you want to access only a range of characters or a group of characters using slicing on a bytes object, you should define only using loop concept. If you try to get in this way, you'll get the output in encrypted format. Okay. So what am I doing here? I'm going to, you know, I perform item assignment. I'm going to perform item assignment here. So the value that we have at index 0, which is 10, I want to update it with 100. But we know bytes is an immutable object. Immutable object means object which is not editable or changeable. So when you try to perform item assignment, you'll get type error saying that byte object does not support item assignment. It means it is immutable object. It is immutable object. Okay. What about line number 173? We are creating a list object. Yes. I have created a list object and I'm going to print the results. But this list object I'm trying to convert to bytes object. Will it execute or not? Will it execute? Will line number 175 execute? No, it will not execute. The reason behind it is, the values that we have, the sequence of values that we have, they are out of the range. If you see here, minus 23 is not between 0 to 255. So when you try to convert it to a bytes object, you'll get value error. You'll get value error. The reason behind it is out of the range. Okay, so focus carefully. Only if it is between the range, yes, it accepts. And it helps us to store both unique and duplicate values within the range. Yes. Next to bytes, we have the next data type is byte array. What is the next type? Byte array. What is the purpose of byte array? Byte array is the purpose of byte array data type is similar to bytes. It is similar. It helps us to store sequence of positive integers from the range of 0, 256, which means 0 to 255 only. The same like bytes. Okay. So we have a function like byte array called byte array which help us to convert any object to byte array object. But what makes the difference between bytes and byte array, Bytes is a immutable object, whereas byte array is a mutable object. It is a mutable object. So that means even after creating a byte array object, I can still update it. I can still change it. And similar to indexing and slicing operations, we can perform slicing and indexing operations on byte array object, and it also supports insertion order. What exactly insertion order is? When you insert the values in an order, okay, if you are inserting the values in a particular order, this order will be maintained as it is. That is called insertion order. You'll more better understand what exactly is insertion order in the next type. Okay, so here is an important point to be noted. So between the functionality of byte array and bytes, it is exactly the same, but the only difference is immutable and mutable. Which is immutable? Bytes is immutable. Which is mutable? Byte array is mutable. Clear? Now, let us again do the same. Let us understand a few examples. What am I doing? A list object is what we are creating. What is the size? 5. I am converting this list object to byte array object. Will that execute? Yes, because all the integers are between the range. They are not out of the range. 0 to 255. Yes, it executed. So B is a byte array object. Then what am I doing, guys? I am printing the value B inside B and ID function. ID function will return the address of the object in the memory. Within the memory, each and every object will have an address. Okay, so that address will be returned by ID function. Memory address in short. Then along with ID, I would also like to get type. So we know that the type is byte array, but address can be anything else. See, you'll get a big number. So at this address, we have this byte array object, and when you try to print it, you are getting it in encrypted format. How to get the values? How to access the values? Using loop, for loop. When you use for loop, you'll get all the elements, the values present inside the byte array object. Okay, and we know updations are possible because byte array is a mutable type. We can change the values. Let me do it. What am I doing, guys? B of 0 is equals to 1. What is B of 0? It is 10. It is 10. What am I doing? I am going to update the value of 10 with 100. So let me do it, guys. Execute it. The reason behind it is byte array object is mutable. Let us cross check. I'll use the for loop again. And now I see instead of 10, I see 100. So that is why, byte array object is mutable. It is supporting item assignment. If it is supporting item assignment, obviously it is a mutable type. Even though if it is created, we can change the values inside it. Clear? Right. So this marks the end of byte array data type. There is one more data type under sequence category. It is range. What is the purpose of range category data type? Is range category data type help us to store sequence of integers with equal intervals. With equal intervals, it helps us to store the integer values. So for bytes and byte array, there is a defined range only between 0 to 255. It allows us to store the values. But here, there is no range. You can store any integer, sequence of integer values with an interval. That's it. Range is also an immutable type. So that means the updations are not possible. And we can also perform indexing and slicing operations. Indexing and slicing operations are accepted. We can perform on a range object. So let us take a few examples. What am I doing? I'm directly using range function. Okay. So range of 6 will return me the values by default starting from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So all these values get stored in the object R. The purpose of range is to store sequence of values, positive integers, right? So I'm going to print the object R along with its type. Again, in the same way, it will not return the values. Instead, it returns the, range object 0, comma 6. That means it holds the values from 0 to 5. How can I access them? Using for loop. Using for loop. So this will return me all the values present inside R. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the second syntax. The first syntax is just using the end value. The second syntax for range is both specifying start and stop end. Okay. So 100, comma 106. That means it starts from 100. It will end at 105. By default, the increment will be 1. Done. I'm printing the results. But anyhow, it returns the range object as it is. I'll use for loop to print the values. From 100, you should see the value still 105. Good. This is the third syntax for range, where you find the values like start, stop, and step. Under slicing, we have the values, right? Start, stop, step. In the same way, start, stop is also nothing but end and step. So that means it starts from 10 and it should end at 20 itself. Okay. But the step size is 2. So we'll get only the even numbers. We'll get only the even numbers. 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20. Let me execute, guys. And I'm going to print the results. But in order to access the values, we have to use loop, for loop. Is that clear? So this marks the end of sequence category data types. Sequence category data types. What is the purpose of sequence category data types? To store sequence of values. In order to store sequence of values, we use sequence category data types. That's it. Now, next to sequence category data types, we have list category data types. We have list category data types. What are these list category data types? What is the purpose of list category data types? They are nothing but they are collection data types. They are collection data types. They help us to store multiple values. So we can store multiple values either of same type or different type or both the types. So that is nothing but different types with unique and duplicates. So that means I can store multiple values of same type or different type that can be unique, or we can also have duplicates. So in short, the list category data types are collection data types. And within list category data types, we have two data types. One is list and the next one is tuple. One is list and the next one is tuple. Very, very, very important data types in Python. List, tuple, set, dict. Okay, so let us understand one by one. What is list data type? List data type, the purpose of list data type is again to store multiple values of same type, different type that can be unique or duplicates. As it is part of list category data types, the purpose will be same. But the elements, the values of list category, list data type is they are within the square braces. And all the elements will be comma separated. The values of list will be comma separated. And does the list maintain insertion order? Yes, it maintains the insertion order. What is insertion order? Insertion order is nothing but, we insert the data in a particular order. Yes. So the same order will be displayed. The same order will be maintained when it is displayed as well. So that is called insertion order. List maintains it. And list belongs to the family of mutable. It is a mutable type. Even once after creating a list data, list object, I can still change it. I can still edit it. We can perform both indexing and slicing operations. Both indexing and slicing operations can be performed, similar to sequence category data types. For conversion from one type to the list type, we use list function. And list being immutable, list being mutable type, there are multiple predefined functions. What are they? Append, insert, pop off index, pop, remove, copy. Okay, within copy we have deep copy, shallow copy, index, count, extend, so on. There are multiple functions that can be used. Okay, we'll understand one by one by taking an example. First of all, we have to get a clear picture on list. Right? So for that, what am I doing? I'm creating a list object. I'm creating a list object. So what is the list object that we have here? How many elements you see here, guys? In line number 226, I see 6 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the elements enclosed in square braces? Yes. All of them are comma separated? Yes. We have unique values? Yes. We have duplicates? Yes. But all of them belong to same type. What is the type? Int type. All of them are integers, right? So obviously int type will be used to store them. But in order to store multiple values, multiple int values, what am I doing? I just used square braces. That means list type. So let me execute this. You will find the type as list. You can double click on it so that it takes to the next level. In the hierarchy, it takes to the next level. So I see all of the values are int values. When I say print of L1 comma type of L1, it prints the values along with the type list. See, the list object along with its type. Length of L1. What is this? len. Len is a length function which returns the size. A function to return the length of an object. In short, it is written in the size. That means the output will be 6. The output will be 6. Okay. Next to it, what am I doing, guys? I am storing different type data. Int, str type, this is float, and this is bool, and again I have str type. Will it be accepted? Yes. Store multiple values either of same type or different type, unique values or duplicates. Anything is accepted under list type. So let me print the result, the object along with its type. and finally length of L2 will return me 5. So let me open this one as well. Here you will clearly understand the difference. See, yeah, you'll clearly understand the difference. It is int, this is str, float, bool, and str again. Making sense? Yes. Then what we are doing on it? Item assignment. L1 of 2. L1 of 2 means 30? Yes. So I want to update 30 with 300. Will it execute or will it throw any error? It will execute. The reason behind it is list is a mutable type. See, 30 became 300. Then can we perform indexing and slicing operations? Yes. L1 of 2 will return me what, guys? 300. Just now we updated. L1 of 2 colon 5. Slicing operation. What values will be returned? Index value at position 2, index value at position 3, index value at position 4. So that means 340 and 10 should be returned. See. Can you tell me the output for line number 238? Just give a try. Starts with 10. But will it give us 20? No. It will not return us 20. It goes to 30. The reason is step size is 2. So 10, 30 and 10. That will be the output for line number 238. Okay, as 30 got updated, it should be 300. My bad. Then, what if I want to create an empty list object? Just give it as empty square braces. This will create an empty list object, guys. This will create an empty list object. See, L3 is a list object of size 0. And I'm going to print the object along with its type. L4. L4 is again an empty list object. I'm using list function, but I'm not passing any values inside it. So I can also create an empty list object using list function. See. So this is also an empty list object of size 0. There is no size. There is no element inside. There is no values. So print L4 of comma type of L4 will return me list object followed by the type. It is empty list object and the type is list. Now, let me understand, let me explain each and every function one by one. Okay. For that, I am taking a list of str type data. What do we have inside it? We have 3 types. I mean, 3 values, 3 elements belonging to the same type. What is the type? str, apple, banana, kiwi. Right? Where do we have them? Inside square braces. So L2 will be a list object. It will be a list object of size 3. Then id function will return what? id function will return the address. id function will return the address. Done. So this is my list object. The type is list and the address is this. So at this address, we have the list object stored in my system, guys. The first function that I'm using is append function. Okay, the syntax is very simple. List object dot append. Within the append, we pass the value. So what exactly does this append function does is, it will add the new element to the existing list object at the last. Just appends. adds the new element to the existing list object L2 at the last position. So what will be the output? The output will be apple, banana, kiwi and raspberry, strawberry. Okay. So instead of 3, the size becomes 4. The size becomes 4, guys. Okay. Then I'm going to print the list object type and followed by the address. Yes. So that means to the same object it got appended. Next to it, I'm going to use insert function. Insert function. I'm going to insert a value. What does this insert function does is, it helps us to insert a value at a specified index. At a specified index, the value gets inserted to the list object. So what I'm doing here, I'm using insert function and I want to insert the value Goa at index position 1. What do we have at 1? We have banana. But when I execute line number 253, I have Goa at index position 1. See. See. Observe the changes. Then printing the results. Next to insert, we are using remove function, guys. We are using remove function. Remove function helps us to remove that particular element. The first occurrence of the element, okay, will be removed from the list object. So banana we have at index position 2. I'm going to remove banana from L2, list object L2. Done. Okay. Next to remove, we are using pop function. Okay. So pop of 3. What does this pop function does is, pop function help us to remove the element at the specified index. Depending on the index that we specify, that specified indexed element will be removed. What do we have? Element 3. 3 is the element that we have at index position 3. Sorry, raspberry, right? So raspberry gets removed. See, raspberry got removed. Then we also have pop function. Pop of index, just only pop. If you don't specify any index, that is what we are doing here, right? When you go with only the default pop function, by default, the last positive indexed element will be removed. What is the last positive index element that we have in the list object? It is kiwi. So kiwi gets removed from line number. If I execute line number 262, kiwi gets removed and it just contains only 2 elements, apple and Goa. Index function. Index function will return the index of the specified element, specified value. So I'm going to get the index of apple from the list object L2. So we know that the apple index is 0. And finally clear function. Clear function help us to remove all the elements present in the list object. All the elements from the list object will be removed from the L2 and it returns an empty list object. See. Okay, so these are the different functions that we have that we can be used on list objects, list data type. Okay, then let us go to the next type. It is tuple. It is tuple. So what is the purpose of tuple? The purpose of tuple is similar to list, completely similar, but there is only a small difference. We'll understand it. The purpose of tuple is to store multiple values, either same type or different type. These values can be unique and duplicates. Yes, similar to list. But the elements of tuple, we keep them in braces. We keep them in braces, parentheses. These are called parentheses. Okay. And the elements of tuples are also comma separated, similar to list. Tuples maintain insertion order, again similar to list. But tuple objects are immutable. Tuple objects are immutable. List objects are mutable. Here comes the difference. List objects are mutable, tuple objects are immutable. Okay, so that means item assignment is not possible. So on the object of tuple, yes, we can perform indexing and slicing operations. And if I want to convert any other type to tuple, we use tuple function. Okay, so these are the important points coming to the tuple data type, and the note point that we have here says that the functionality of tuple is same as list. But the only difference that we observe is mutable, immutable. Which type is mutable? List. Which type is immutable? Tuple. Clear? So let us take some few examples on tuple type. Okay. So what am I doing here? I am trying to store values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60 within parenthesis. So this is an tuple object. All the elements are comma separated? Yes. And all of them belong to same type? Yes. Int. So T1 is a tuple object. You see here? T1 is a tuple object of size 6. See. I'm going to print T1 along with its type. Okay. I'm going to print T1 along with its type. And length of T1 will return me 6. Length of T1 will return me 6 because there are 6 elements. Next to it, I'm going to come up with one more tuple object in which I have elements, the values from different types. Int, str, float, bool, again str. So is that accepted? Yes, it is accepted. Okay, it is accepted. Now, let me print the tuple T2 and the length is 5. The size is 5. What if I want to create an empty tuple object? If I want to create an empty tuple object, okay, we go with empty parenthesis. We go with empty parenthesis. Okay, so this empty parenthesis will create an empty tuple object, and when I print it, you'll see to the console. There is no element inside it. So when I say length of L3, T3, it returns me 0. Do we have any element? No. Is there any other way to create an empty tuple object? Yes. You directly go and use tuple function. Directly go and use tuple function. So when I use tuple function, this will return me an empty tuple object again. So printing the results to the console, and length of T4 will return me 0. Length of T4 will return me 0. Right? Now, what I am doing in line number 292? T2 of 0. So this is the concept of indexing from T to tuple object. Which element do we have to index 0? It is 10. So the output will be 0. Sorry, 10. Because at index 0 we have the element 10. What will be the output for line number 293, guys? For 293. where we are using the concept of slicing. 0:5 starts from 0, then 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that means the entire tuple object will be written as is. What am I doing here? Line number 295. We are going with item assignment. We are going to update the value of 0th index element from T2 to 100. Is it accepted? No, it is not accepted. So it will throw us an error. Why? Tuple objects are immutable. They don't support item assignment. Once if it is created, you're done. That's it. Is it clear? Yes. So this marks the end of list category data types. Now, let us go to set category data types. The next category. What is the purpose of set category data types? Let us understand. Set category data types is also, they are called as collection data types. They are called as collection data types. And their purpose is to store multiple values. These multiple values can be of same type or different type. But the value should be unique, guys. This must be unique, no duplicates. That makes the difference between list category and set category. List category also help us to store duplicates, but set category, no. We should only have unique values. Even though if you pass duplicates, it removes the duplicates, it considers only the unique values. The two data types that we have in the set category data types are set and frozen set. They are set and frozen set. Set belongs to both mutable and immutable. 1 minute. Can a data type be both? Can it belongs to both mutable and immutable? Think. Yes. Set belongs to mutable and immutable. We'll understand. Where it is mutable, where it is immutable, we'll understand. But frozen set is immutable type. Once if it is created, we cannot change it. We cannot change the frozen set object once if it is created. Let us understand set data type first. Right. What is the purpose of set data type? Is set data type help us to store multiple values of same type or different type, but they should be unique. The value should be unique. And the elements or the values of set type should be enclosed in flower braces or curly braces. We use flower braces or curly braces to store the values. And these elements or the values will be comma separated, guys. They will be comma separated. And object of set does not maintain insertion order. They do not maintain insertion order. But coming to list category, they maintain insertion order. Okay. So in whatever order you insert, the elements will not be displayed in the same manner. There are n number of possibilities. Okay. As there is no insertion order, we cannot perform indexing and slicing. No indexing, no slicing. Nothing. No indexing, no slicing. But a set object belongs to both mutable and immutable. When it is mutable in case of add function. In case of add function, it is a mutable type. In case of item assignment, when you are doing updations, When you are updating the values, it belongs to immutable type. We'll understand by taking some examples. We'll understand, guys. Okay. So now let us understand the set data type. What am I doing? I'm storing the values like 10, 20, 30, 40, the duplicates of 10, 20, 30, 40 as well in flower braces, curly braces. All of these values are comma separated? Yes. All of them belong to same type? Yes. Int. So this returns me it is a set object. It is a set object of size 4. No. I have passed 8 elements, right? But why do you see only 4? Because the elements or the values inside set object should be unique. See, it does not maintain the insertion order. This is what the order I have passed. But you see here, it has changed the type totally. The order has been changed. Now let me print the results. The order is the same. 40, 10, 20, 30. Next to it, can I have the elements from different types? Yes. We can have the elements, the values from different types. I am storing in B. So B is again a set object of size 5. But if you see, it does not maintain the insertion order. It does not maintain the insertion order, guys. I am printing the results. Okay. Can I create an empty set object? Yes, I can create an empty set object. But is it possible using empty flower braces? Let me check. No. No. That means we cannot create an empty set object using empty flower braces. It returns me a dict object, the next data type. In the sequence, this is the next data type. So when I use empty flower braces, it returns me dict type. Empty dict object is what it creates in the memory. But how can I create an empty set object? Is using set function. I use set function. Okay. So when I use set function and I don't pass any values, this will create me an empty set object. And if you see here, I'm trying to print the results. See, it is a set object and there are no values inside. Clear? Right. What am I doing? I am performing indexing. What is B? B is a set object and we are trying to perform indexing on it. Is that accepted? We cannot perform indexing. There is no indexing concept in sets. So B of 0 will return as error. See, set object is not subscriptable. Why? If they don't maintain the insertion order, if the insertion order is keep on changing, how it can give the index values? So that is why there is no concept of indexing and slicing in sets. Okay, so let me come up with one more. Okay, the same object. Yes. So to this object, I am going to perform item assignment. I want to update the value within the set object at index 0. First of all, we cannot perform indexing itself on sets. So when you try to perform item assignment operation, it will throw us an error. It does not support item assignment. If it does not support item assignment, it becomes an immutable type in case of item assignment. But if I use add function, what I am going to add? An element NEUT. So this NUT gets added to B. Here it becomes mutable type. See, NUT got added? Yes. NUT got added. So that is why set belongs to both mutable and immutable. When it is mutable in case of add function. When it is immutable in case of item assignment. I hope it is clear, guys. Now, let us go to the next type. Under set category data types, it is frozen set. It is frozen set. Again, the purpose of frozen set is to store multiple values of same type or different type, but the values must be unique, similar to set data type. Okay, if I want to convert any other data type elements, if I want to convert any other data type objects to frozen set, I can use frozen set function. I can directly use frozen set function. And similar to set, frozen set does not maintain the insertion order. As it does not maintain the insertion order, we cannot perform indexing. We cannot perform slicing. But frozen set is strict. It is immutable. Once the object got created, we cannot change frozen set. It might be in case of add or item assignment. So here comes the difference between set and frozen set. Because set is a mutable object, a mutable type in case of add function. Okay, but in case of frozen set, it becomes immutable. So that is what we have it here. The only difference between set and frozen set. Let us take some few examples related to frozen set. What am I doing? Be active and let me know what am I doing exactly in line number 331. I am creating a list object. Can I have duplicates? Can I have duplicates? Yes, I can have duplicates. What will be the size? The size becomes 6. So L1 is a list object of size 6. What is the type? Obviously list. Next to it, what is this? I am coming up with a set object. The elements of the set object S1 are comma separated, but they should be unique. No duplicates. And they don't maintain the insertion order, guys. No. And I'm printing the set object along with its type. Done. Now, I'm going to convert the list object L1 to frozen set object. How? Using frozen set function. So I can directly use frozen set function for converting the list object to frozen set object. Okay, so when I execute this, focus, FS1 is a frozen set object. But you see the size 2. But here I have 6, right? We know that frozen set type does not allow duplicates, only unique values. Right? Then let me print it. See, it is only 10 comma 20. Okay, next to it, frozen set of S1. What we are doing exactly here? Converting the set object to frozen set. Right? So this creates an frozen set object. Again, the size will be same. Yes, 4. Can I create an empty frozen set object? Yes. Using frozen set function. So this will return me an empty frozen set object. The length is 0. The length is 0. What exactly are we doing here? Fs of 0 is equals to 100. Fs of 0 is equals to 100. This is where we are going to perform item assignment, and we know that frozen set objects are immutable. They are immutable. So this will return us an error. Okay? Yes. With this, we have completed the set category data types. There is two more data types, guys. Let us complete these. The next one is dict category data types. Dict category data types. What is the purpose of dict category data types? The purpose is to store the data in the form of key value pairs. We'll have the data in key value pairs, in which the keys should be unique, but the values may or may not be unique. Yes, keys must be unique, but the values that we give for the keys, they may or may not be unique. Okay, so the elements of the dict, they have to be organized in a key value pair within the flower braces. We use same curly braces or flower braces, okay, to have all the key value pairs of a dict type. And in order to access the values, we use keys. There is no concept of indexing and slicing. We use keys for accessing the values. And a dict object is mutable. Yes, it is mutable. By accessing the values via keys, we can change the values for the value. Okay, but when you are trying to change the values for the keys, they are immutable. Okay, if you are trying to change the values for a value, they are mutable, but the values of keys are immutable. You cannot change the keys. Under dict category, we have only one type, it is dict. We have only one type, it is dict. Let us take a few examples on dict category data type. What am I doing here? We understood earlier itself. To create an empty dictionary, empty dict object, we directly use flower braces. We use flower braces. So this will create an empty dict object. Then I'm going to print the dict object along with its type using print function and type function, and length of D3 will return me 0. No elements. Then to this dict object, I'm passing key value pairs one by one. See guys, D3 of 100 is equals to 2.3, which means to the key 100, the value will be 2.3. So this gets added to D3. See, 100 colon 2.3. And always remember the values in dict object. Okay, so the key value pairs will be colon separated. They will be colon separated. Key value. In the same way, let me add one more key value pair. 200 colon 4.5. 300 colon 2.3. 400 colon 6.3. In this way, I can add n number of key value pairs, but the data should be stored in key value pair format only. And these key value pairs will be comma separated, but keys and values will be colon separated. Let me open it. See, there is no indexing. You will find keys here. Instead of index values, you will find keys and the values. I hope it is clear. Now, let me print the dict object and the type, and the length is 4. In total, there are 4 key value pairs. There are 4 key value pairs. What am I doing? I'm updating the value for the key 200. Earlier I have 4.5. Now I'm updating it to 9.8. Done. It's done. Then next to it, print of D3 comma type of D3 will return me the updated dict object along with its type. And I'm going to create a new dict object D1 in which we have 4 key value pairs where the keys are int values 10, 20, 30, 40, but the values are str type. They belong to str type. Now, what am I doing, guys? I'm going to access, okay, whatever the value that we have for key 10, I'm going to update it with pApple. Instead of apple, I'm going to update it with pApple. Is that yes? And finally, I'm going to print the results. That's it. Okay, so with this, we have also completed dict category data types. The next and the last category data types that we have in Python is NoneType category data types. NoneType category data types. And none is the keyword that we use. And it is treated as NoneType category data types. And what exactly is none? None is not null, it is not null, it is not space, and it is also not false. No. Okay. And we can create a NoneType object using none keyword. It's very simple, guys. It means it is not null, it is not space, it is not even space. Okay. And moreover, it is not false. It means nothing. Nothing. Okay. So let me create. What am I doing? I'm taking none keyword and I'm storing in the variable object A. You see the type, it is none type. Okay. And I'm going to print the object A along with its type. So you will find none and the type as none type. That's it. So with this, we have successfully completed the data types. There are few more concepts like operators, conditional statements, and functions. Let us start one by one. Operators. What exactly are operators in Python? Operators in Python means they are symbols. They are symbols in Python. And what does these symbols does is they perform certain operations. They perform certain operations. And if two or more variables, when two or more variables or objects, whatever it might be, if they are connected with any operator, it becomes an expression. It becomes an expression. In Python, we have 7 types of operators. What are the different types of operators that we have in Python are arithmetic, assignment, relational, logical, membership, identity, and bitwise. And bitwise. Guys, out of these 7 operators, majority of the operators we have already, learned as part of our schooling days itself. Yes, they are very simple. What are the operators that we have already learned? Are, I'll go back. You see here, arithmetic operators. Did we use earlier during our school days? Yes. Addition operator, subtraction operator, multiplication operator, division operator, floor division operator, and this is called modulo operator, and finally exponential or power operator. Exponent or power operator. So addition operator will return sum, subtraction operator will return difference, multiplication operator will return product, division operator will return the coefficient. Okay, and division operator always returns a float as output. Okay, this is very important. Next to division operator, we have floor division, which returns the floor value. It performs division, but it returns the floor value. So here we'll get the int as the output, and modulo operator will return remainder. When you are performing division, you'll get coefficient remainder. So the remainder will be returned by modulus operator. And power operator will return the power. A power B. See, if I want square, A square, right? So in this way, I can get the power calculated. So that is the reason, as we have good amount of knowledge, I am not going with the hands-on of arithmetic operators. Next to arithmetic operators, we have assignment operator. What is the assignment operator that we have? Is equals to. So that means from scratch, from starting of the class, without noticing, we are using assignment operator. A is equals to 5. What exactly happens is the right hand side value gets assigned to the left hand side value using assignment operator. That is the purpose of assignment operator, guys. Okay, next to assignment operators, we have relational operators. What are the different relational operators we have in Python? Is equals to, which means this is called is equals to in Python. Double is called is equals to in Python. Okay, what is single is equals to called? Assignment operator. Then exclamatory is equals to is called not is equals to. Greater than, less than, greater than equals to, less than equals to. These are the different relational operators, and they help us to check for the conditions. And these relational operators will return either true or false as output. Only the output will be true or false. Okay, apart from this, you cannot get anything else as output. Then the next operator that we have is logical operators, where we have and or not. And or not. What is this AND operator? What is the purpose of logical operators is to combine multiple relational operators. When you have a relational expression, if you want to combine, if you want to take two or more than two, okay, in order to combine these relational expressions, we use logical operators like AND, or, not. Okay, so AND operator will return me. Again, the output of logical operators will also be true or false only, guys. When does AND operator returns true is when both the conditions are true, then the AND operator returns true. In case of OR, even if at least one condition is holding true, then OR operator returns true. Not operator, not operator will return the reverse, opposite of the result. If it is false, it returns true. If it is true, it returns false. It's a kind of negation. right? So these are the basic operators that we have learned from school days. So I'm not just touching these concepts. I'll directly jump into the concept of membership operators. From here onwards, the topics are important, guys. Membership operators. What are these membership operators? The membership operators are, what is the purpose of membership operators is, first of all, to check or to verify the existence of a specified value in an iterable object. So within an iterable object, whether the value is present or not. In order to check, to verify, we use membership operators. But what is an iterable object? What is iterable object? Iterable object is an object which contains multiple values like sequence category data types, list category objects, set category objects, dict category objects. All of them are iterable objects only. And in Python, we have two membership operators. One is in and the other one is not in. One is in and the other one is not in. Okay. What does in operator returns? In operator, the syntax is value in iterable object. Okay. So if the value is present in the iterable object, obviously in operator will return true. If this value is not present in the iterable object, the in operator returns false. And not in works quite opposite to in. The syntax is same, just the operator got changed, not in place of in. If the value is not inside the iterable object, it returns true. If the value is inside the iterable object, it returns false. So that is the purpose of membership operators. Let us take examples and understand how membership operators are used. One by one. What am I doing here? I am storing Python. A sequence of characters, obviously it is an str type. Str type will be used to store the data. Yes. Now, what exactly am I doing here? P in S. Capital P in S. Okay. So, is P in S? Yes. P is in S. S is nothing but Python. So, obviously, it returns true. Small p in S. Do we have small p in Python? No, it is capital P. So obviously this will return false. This will return false. PYTH in S. Yes, I have PYTH. So this will return me true. HON in S. Yes, HON in S. So this will also return true. So it is very simple, guys. It checks whether the value is in the iterable object or not. If the value is present, it returns true. The value is absent, it returns false. Now, I'm taking one more example where I'm using list object. So I'm going to create a list object of size 4, 10 in list, 10 in LST. What is LST? List object. Do we have 10? Yes. So this will return true. Row sum not in LST. I already have row sum, but it says not in. It is not in. If it is in, yes, we would have got the output as true. Since I am using not in, the output will be false. The output will be false. Clear? Now, let us go to the next operator. Identity operators. Identity operators. Okay. What is the purpose of identity operators? They help us to compare the memory addresses. If you take two objects, two variables, you can compare their memory address. If the memory address is same, again, we have two identity operators. One is, the other one is not. The first one is, and the second one is not. The syntax is again same. Object 1 is object 2 or variable 1 is variable 2. For is not, object 1 is not object 2 or variable 1 is not variable 2. When does is operator return true is when both the objects have same address. When both the variables have same address, then is operator will return true. When does is operator return false? When both the objects have different address. When they have different address, obviously, the is operator will return false. And is not works quite opposite to is. When both the objects have same address. Okay, see, is not operator returns true when both of them pointing to the different address. When they have the same address, it returns false. Simple. But which function we use to get the address? ID function. We use ID function to get the address. So let me work out on a few examples. What am I doing here? This is a dict object. Yes, of size 2. Two key value pairs. I am storing in D1. And I have the same key value pairs, the same two key value pairs in object D2. Can you tell me, will the address of D1 and D2 will be same? In chat, can you tell me the address of D1 and D2 will it be same, guys? But let me get the address of D1 first using ID function. So this is the address of D1. In the same way, as I have the same key value pairs in D2 also, do you think the address of D2 will be same? No. No. D1 and D2 are two different objects that are created in the memory at different locations. How did I confirm it? By looking at the address. No. So when I use is operator, I'll get is D1 is D2? No, false. D1 is not D2. Yes, true. I hope you are getting the point. What is the purpose of identity operators? To compare the address in the memory. In order to compare the address in the memory, we use identity operators. Right? Don't assume that as we have the same key value pairs in both the objects, that doesn't mean they are stored in the same location. No. Let me go to the tuple side. If I take a tuple object with same elements stored in two different objects, T1, T2, I'll get the addresses. Again, the addresses will be different. See, the addresses will not be same. T1 is T2. No, it is false. T1 is not T2. Yes, it is true because they have different addresses. Then L1 is equals to, I'm creating a list object of size 2, two elements. In the same way, I'm also creating one more list object of same elements. Done. So I'm trying to get their addresses. Again, their addresses will be same. I mean, their addresses will be different in the memory. So when I use is operator, I'll get the output as false. And if I use is not, I'll get the output as true. Clear? Okay. Don't assume that this whatever the content that is present, the elements and the content, the elements that are present in L2 both being same, they doesn't mean that they are stored at the same location. Okay. Then what do we have next? S1 is equals to Python. I'm going to store Python, okay, in S1, and the same Python I'm going to store in S2. Okay. So I have stored Python in S1 and S2, both. Now, I'm going to get their addresses, individual address of S1 and S2. Do you think the addresses will be same or different? What do you say, guys? Will it be same or different? It will be same. You don't believe? Here you see here, the address of S1 and the address of S2 is same. It is same. Why? The reason behind it is, especially for str data, str type, okay, Python, if it is a small string type data, it uses the same memory. It uses the same location. The same address will be shared. Okay. So that is the fact that one has to know. This is an exception in case of str type. If it is a small string type data, Python uses the same location, the same address will be shared. But here it is again a different one. This is not same. Python in uppercase and Python in lowercase, not same, guys. So S3 will have different address again. See, if you compare S1, S2, S3 addresses, S1, S2 will have same address. S3 will have different address. Okay. S1 is S2. Yes, true. S1 is not S2. False. S1 is not S3. Yes, true. S1 is S3. False. So just comparing the addresses is what identity operators does. But let me take a similar example where I'll be using, str type data. Str type is being used, but this is not small. This is big. In case of big strings, okay, it does not use the same location. The address will not be shared. It uses different addresses. See, to store, it uses different addresses. Okay, S1 is S2. False. S1 is not S2. True. Clear? So, we have completed identity operators as well. The next operators that we have in the sequence are bitwise operators, the last operators, guys. Focus. Okay, so what exactly is bitwise operator? The bitwise operators, they help us to perform bitwise calculations only on the integer data but not on the float data. No. Okay, so when we use bitwise operators, what happens is the integer data gets converted to binary format. What do you mean by binary format? Zeros and ones. After converting to the binary format, it performs the bit by bit calculations. And because of this, they are named as bitwise operators. Since the calculations are done bit by bit, right? That is why they are named as bitwise operators. And in Python, we have 6 bitwise operators. What are they? Bitwise left shift operator represented with less than mark, double less than mark. Bitwise right shift operator represented with double greater than mark. Bitwise OR operator represented with vertical pipe. Bitwise AND operator represented with ampersand. Bitwise complement operator represented with negation. And finally, bitwise XOR operator represented with cap. Okay, so these are the different bitwise operators that we have in Python. So let us understand one by one, guys. The first one, bitwise left shift operator. What does this bitwise left shift operator does? This left shift operator, it shifts to the left side upon the number of bits specified. On number of bits that we specify, it is going to shift towards left side and fills the right side values with zeros. This is what it does. And the syntax is given in this way. See, the given data, left shift operator, then the number of bits. Okay, so I'll just take an example. I'm going to take 10. 10 being integer, this int type will be converted to binary data. So I'll just explain for one example so that the rest of the examples it will be seen. How decimal format number is converted to binary format number is we have to go with LCM. So 2 5s are 10 where the remainder is 0. 2 2s are 4 where the remainder is 1. Then 2 1s are 2 where the remainder is 0. We are done. You go in the reverse direction. This will return me the binary format number. The binary number. It is 1010. So 10 is represented as 1010. Okay. Now, what am I doing? By taking this 10, I am performing bitwise left shift operator. So 10 left shift operator 3. So how many bits I want to move towards the left side? I want to go with 3 digits, 3 bits. Okay. So this 1010 will be moved towards left side. Left side, right? So this digits 1010 will be moved towards 3 bits. So what happens to the right side values? To the right side values where we have 3 empty places, they will be occupied with 3 zeros. Now this is again in binary format. Yes, this will be converted back to decimal format. So where it uses the formula like 2 power 0 multiplied with this value. Again 0 multiplied with 2 power 1, 0 multiplied with 2 power 2, 0 multiplied with 2 cube, 1 multiplied with 2 power 4, 0 multiplied with 2 power 5, 1 multiplied with 2 power 6. And these values will be summed. We know that these values are anyhow 0. 0 multiplied by anything is 0. But here I see the value. 1 multiplied by 2 power 6. It is 2 power 6 is 64. Then 2 power 4 is 16. So when you add these both, you'll get the output as 80. You'll get the output as 80. So this is what bitwise left shift operator does. So I have explained, what exactly happens in the backend as well. Okay, when we execute all these three lines, in the backend, this entire process happens and it returns the output as 80. So let me execute one by one. I'm going to store 10 in A. Then on this 10, I'm going to perform left shift operator, bitwise left shift operator, and towards how many bits? 3 bits. Done. Immediately see here, the value that is getting stored in RES is 80. Okay, then in the same way we have right shift operator. Left shift operator shifts the number of bits towards the left side, whereas right shift operator is going to shift the specified number of bits towards right side. So same 1010 will be shifted towards right side. And in order to convert back, the same process happens and this will return as 1. 1. Then next to bitwise right shift operator, we have bitwise OR operator. What does bitwise OR operator does is, when you take two numbers, okay, and when you're comparing the bits, zeros, ones, if both the bits, okay, if any of the bit is 1, the output will be 1. See. But if both the bits are 0, only there the output will be 0 in case of bitwise OR operator. Okay, so if you see here, I'm trying the bitwise OR operator between 4 and 5. 4 converted to binary number, it is 100. In the same way, 5 converted to binary number, it is 101. Now let us perform bitwise OR operator. So here it will be 1, here it will be 0, here it will be 1. So what is 101? Again the output will be 5. Let me execute all the 4 lines. The output should be 5. See. Clear? Next to bitwise OR operator, we have bitwise AND operator. What does this AND operator does is, it is again comparing the bit values between the two values. Okay, the bits will be compared, and wherever the bit values are, both the bit values are only 1, the output will be 1. In rest of the cases, the bit value will be, it returns the output as 0. I take the same case. So if I apply bitwise AND operator, can you tell me the output? Only here it will be 1. But here it will be 0 and here also it will be 0. So the output will be 4. The output will be 4. I'm executing line by line. AND operator we are representing with ampersand. Yes, done. Now, bitwise complement operator, we represent it with negation. Okay, so this operator returns the complement of the given value. Like how we have not operator, in the same way we have complement operator under bitwise operators, where the formula is given as bitwise complement of n is equals to minus of n plus 1. So if I'm trying to take the complement of 10, so what is the n value? It will be 10. So 10 plus 1, it will be 11. Okay, but minus of 11 will be returned as output. Simple. If you remember this formula, you can answer any question. Bitwise complement operator works on this formula. What is the purpose of bitwise complement operator? It helps us to return the complement of the given value. Bitwise XOR operator, XOR. Okay, so we have the truth table. In case of XOR or operator, if both the bits are 0 or if both the bits are 1, they return 0 as output. They return the output as 0. But if any of the operator, see, they should be like, the bit value should be dissimilar. They should not be similar. If they are similar, they return 0. If they are dissimilar, they return 1. That is how bitwise XOR operator works. Okay, so let me work it on an example. 4 is written as 100. 5 is written as 101. Now, can you tell me the output for XOR operator? Within the time. For this operator, XOR operator, when I use XOR operator, obviously this will be 0, this will be 0, but this will be 1. This will be 1. So what will be the output? The output will be 1 only. Let me execute this. The output is 1. Right? Yes. So this marks the end of operators. The next concepts that we have are, there are few more concepts like control statements, okay, looping statements, and
Any doubts around that?
and there are a few more concepts like functions. Those concepts we are going to cover in the next class. So if you have any kind of questions in today's session, yes, feel free to ask your questions. Shoot your questions, guys. And if you find that the session went well, hit on the like button. Do share across your connections. Any kind of questions will be addressed. Technical, non-technical questions. Any questions? Yes, if you have any kind of questions, feel free to ask. If no questions, feedback link has been provided. Give your valuable feedback. Please provide your valuable feedback, my friends, before you leave. And if you find the session went well, hit on the like button. It's a kind of encouragement that you're going to give from your side.